tweeted in the last 24 hours about the $53 million that USAID and the federal government sent to Wuhan. All the developments, as you just commented about the development of the toxins and the biological warfare agents that ultimately became branded as COVID-19. And I just want everybody to remember that while I appreciate every one of these disclosures, there is no question that we are now 24 hours away from the vote on the recommendation of putting Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in as the director of the Department of Health and Human Services, as secretary. And I want everybody to understand, and we talked about this on some of our past conversations, Alex, but we have to get to the bottom of the fact that the reason why we have so many Republicans and Democrats opposing Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s appointment is actually something that I highlighted back in the first quarter of 2020 when I pointed out then, and I sent this graphic to your team, that in the spring of 2020, when all of the conversations were going around about mRNA being the basis for this vaccine initiative, that this thing, this injection of a biological weapon, in the Securities and Exchange Commission filing of Moderna and of BioNTech, which is the Pfizer arm of this campaign, in both of their securities filings, they stated that this was not a vaccine, that this was an experimental gene therapy. And I need to be really clear on the consequence of not only the left side of promoting the pandemic, but I want to be really clear on the medical freedom side failure when it decided to go ahead and fall for the use of the term vaccine. And if we go to that next page of that image, it's important to realize that in their own filings, this is not Dave Martin's opinion, in their own filings, they state, currently mRNA is considered a gene therapy product by the FDA. Now, why is this important? It's important because the vaccine promoting cabal, which is almost all of the committee that RFK has sat in front of for the last couple days, that vaccine promotion cabal, which put Anthony Fauci into position in 1984 so that by 1986 they could get their way on making sure that they got immunity anytime the word vaccine was mentioned, that cabal knows that in the fall of 2019, they sent gene sequences from the Wuhan bioweapon to Moderna. And they know that they put that formula into injections. And far worse than the $53 million that Elon tweeted about last night, over $500 million, and you got that number correct, over $500 million combined from DARPA and from NIH and NIAID went into programs led and architected by the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill's Ralph Baric. And remember, we've talked about this many times. The reason why we will not allow senators to actually speak the truth about the origins of what they call COVID is because they know, and the American people need to know, that while $53 million went to Wuhan, which is in fact correct from Elon's tweet, over 10 times that amount was spent to create the biological weapon in the United States, architected by the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and Ralph Baric. He is the one who in 2005 said that this was a biological weapon. He is the one that said it was a biowarfare enabling technology. He is the one that sent the material transfer agreement in the fall of 2019 based on the Wuhan Institute of Virology Virus 1 model to the manufacturers of the injection. This lab leak conversation, and even Elon is missing this point. This is not a China lab leak story. This is a biological weapons program in the United States funded by taxpayer money 10 times more than what was funded in China. And while I celebrate the evisceration of the criminal corrupt organization in USAID, I want us to be really clear on the fact that until Elon, until President Trump, and until all of the people who are actually still covering up the universities in the United States, until that story is finally told to the American people, we collectively must deal with the fact that the biological weapons program that was started in 2002, when Ralph Baric first patented the infectious replication defective gain-of-function clone funded by NIAID, funded by Anthony Fauci, until that particular story is told, none of the truth is coming out. And if Elon has access to the treasury numbers that he says he has, we know that they can hit print on that print queue. And the minute the American public realize that it is our public universities, the same ones that are corrupting the minds of our children, the same ones that are corrupting the social fabric of our society, the same place, by the way, that the helicopter pilot that was allegedly behind the Black Hawk helicopter, she's a UNC Chapel Hill biology grad. Let's get really clear. Her dad is the director of an informatics company that was about COVID electronic health records. That same UNC Chapel Hill has to be front and center in the line of fire if we're going to ever have accountability.